everyone, it's Nicole. I'm sorry to miss y'all tonight. I have to go to a funeral. So I'm presenting to you from my office. It is Spirit Week. So I'm in my pajamas and today's my birthday. So what a fun way to spend my birthday. So for my school, I decided to design at a high school, a two-story building with one main entry, sort of like this image that I found here. And I'm going to jump right into it. So this theme for this school is learning for the future. That's one of the things that resonated with me the most throughout the course was planning for jobs or careers that we don't even know exist yet. But we do know a lot of things are going the way of technology and of STEM and engineering and computers. And so that's what I tried to focus on in the school design with multiple different career and education pathways. So Missouri has career clusters for CTE or career and technical education. And this school will focus on a few, and in the next slide, I'll have them a bit bigger. But the main ones that the school will focus on is industrial and engineering technology, the architecture, the STEM, and the manufacturing, arts and communication, so the arts, AV, technology, and communications, and the technology piece of the business cluster, specifically information technology. And so throughout the school design, you will see that I've incorporated maker spaces for the manufacturing and architecture and construction, and also many different computer labs for the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as well as an art room, a digital media room, and things like that. So every grade level, so 9th and 10th will have their own makerspace, and 11th and 12th will share a makerspace. And this is something I read about in my article study, and I believe that is a strong way to teach students growth mindset and really apply their own learning. And so this is a video that I found on YouTube with a tour of a sample high school makerspace, because very often the videos are for elementary school.
Okay, so this is a quick makerspace tour for the new school year. So I guess just going around the room, kind of similar setup and a little bit different than last year. A few new things that we've got in here and different ways, I guess, that we want to use the space a little bit this year. So starting along the back, we've got construction this time, so wood pieces, other things, panels, boxes, stuff like that. Then all the construction tools then kind of go along the back area now. One of the screens here, so these obviously I talked about these previously, so these are wireless connected through Chromecast, so there's 6 of these around the room. Coming over to the windowsill area, so new 3D printers for this year, so these are they look more intimidating, but they're tons better than the old ones. So we had tier time 3D printers previously. They were expensive for parts that needed replacing often. So these are really cool. So they're very straightforward to use. They're running off a Raspberry Pi on each one as a wireless print server. So kids can just, each printer has a web address basically. So you go to the web address for the printer and just upload your file you want to print. Choose a couple of options and then click go, and it will start printing for you. So they're kind of cool. Then along this side we have, well, down below we've got, sorry before I get to those pieces, down below we've got various different electronics pieces along here. Still got the IKEA magnet wire holder. Lots of other electronics pieces here. Then the Emblazer 2 laser cutters, so these are both new, fantastic, super pleased with these, really good. So I'll make some longer videos about those at some point, but these are fantastic and super simple for the kids to use again. Hey, there's something that was made on a laser cutter. So along this side we've got a lot of our microbit stuff, so various boxes, things that still need to go on the wall, microbit, meow bits, batteries, other things, loads more electronics and components down on the bottom. Stormtroopers still here. Along the front, what I will do, we've got another couple of sewing machines that will go this space will be expanded a little along, a couple more sewing machines to go on here, and then we want to really fill up these spaces with sort of textiles and craft things to go along this side. So we've got a bit more of a space for that. Then down this side, yeah, sort of crafty bits in here. More sort of kit robots here, I guess. So Lego robotics stuff there, variety of stuff, air block Vex, shiny new wireless glue guns. So these are super cool, but we're just in the process of 3D printing, or designing and 3D printing some stands which will be actually mounted to this surface, so it'll hold the wire in and hold the things in place when they're on here. We had to build a fence to pen in the dashers because they keep escaping. They keep switching themselves on when they're charging, so they've got a fence now, keeps them in. And then along here we've got a make block robotics stuff. The Make Code arcade machine is still here, so kids can still connect any creations and run it on the arcade machine just there, and that is about where we are at the moment with it. So looking forward to using the space this year. It's going to be a little bit different in terms of what we can do with the kids, just as we start back this year, and how we've got to be a little more distant in here, but looking forward to.
So I found the concept of a makerspace really intimidating before this work, but the more and more I read, it's just all about, finding creative ways or resources that we have, especially with today's environmental needs, in order to supply it. And a lot of these things can be funded on a website called Donors Choose. And so there's tons of grants for STEM, STEAM, all of those sorts of things.
Okay.
So with this makerspace focus and this planning for the future, there are lots of future potential pathways for high school students, a couple of which are Launch Code. That is a program in St. Louis that is free for anyone who wants to get computer science training. I've had some students go through that program and they're already making nearly $30 an hour, and they get their certifications paid for in things like Java and other programs. There's the geospatial program opening up in St. Louis. And so there's an internship program students can do that leads to their college tuition being paid for. Of course, there's a more traditional pathway of going into college and studying engineering or electrical engineering or anything in STEM, computer science. And then St. Louis is really lucky to have lots of trade unions such as construction, IBEW, and these pathways would be most aligned with IBEW, which is electricity, line workers, broadcasting, radio, media technology, and things like that. So high school overview. In the project design, it said 1,000 students, 70 teachers, 4 admins, 6 secretaries, 5 custodians, and a nurse. I have only worked in Title I schools, and so I did tweak this a little bit to fit a Title I school. So still 1,000 students, revised the 70 teachers to be 5 counselors, a social worker, 2 reading specialists, and 63 teachers, just given the needs. And then the 4 administrators, I rebranded as a student activities director, just for things like robotics club and things like that would need to be coordinated with a more STEM focused school than athletics. A principal focused on discipline and operations, assistant principal, 1 on the instruction, and then the principal, of course. And then for the 6 secretaries, divided them out, 1 for activities, 1 attendance, 1 receptionist, 1 payroll / the principal secretary, the business and book clerk who does the ordering, and the records keeper for the high school who's doing the transcripts and the grades and things like that, the 5 custodians, and the nurse. So state of Missouri credit requirements require a lot of different specific requirements. And so I wanted to make sure that the classes in the building reflected what kids needed to graduate. So the outside of the school building, 50 acres as named in the project. There would be a bus lane in front and a car rider lane. If there was not room to do both, a system that I used last year at my school would have the bus riders released first, and then the car riders would just have a later dismissal time, and then families knew that. staff parking to one side of the school, and then student, family, and guest parking closer to the part of the school that's near the soccer and track field, in the baseball and softball field. Likely not to have football in my hypothetical school just because it is so expensive, with a liability insurance and things like that. The storage outside for any of the sports equipment or any of the landscaping things needed for the school. It is a 2-floor building with the option to build up if needed. And so there is one main entryway to the school, which is down here on the bottom in the center. And they would either go to the receptionist where there'd be a 2-way window, or through metal detectors that are needed to go into the school. The gray areas represent hallways. And so when you first walk into the building, a security office, custodians, public restrooms, and then if the families were there for an event, they would go to the right to go into the gym / auditorium, sort of like what we saw at Fox High School. Locker rooms right near there, the student activities director, activities secretary, and storage all right there. You'll see that straight ahead is the staff lounge, a larger space, so that way the whole staff can come together in community, with a staff courtyard. Now, I know we saw at Fox High School, it's hard to mow those internal courtyards, but hopefully that could be something that can be done with a push mower or something with xeriscaping or like natural plantscaping and like permeable surface so it doesn't need to be mowed. Something creative there, and that would also get points towards the building being green. But a courtyard for staff, so they can enjoy that vitamin D, as well as an enclosed courtyard for students. So this would not be accessible, the student courtyard, except from the cafeteria. So 9th grade is a tricky year for students. And so 9th grade is on the first floor by itself. 9th graders would have all of their classes down here: algebra, biology, English, American history, and then for their electives, they will take health one semester, communications another, since it's a school focused on the future, and then gym, which this also would be on the first floor, and they would change in the locker room. For the offices, there's a principal, secretary, conference room, social worker. I put the social worker near the entry, so that way when families are coming in for issues or outside providers or DOJs or hotline cases or things like that, the social worker and the conference room are right there for private space. Some room for curriculum storage, and then records storage as well. Kitchen and cafeteria on the first floor with a loading door in the back. I put the concession stand near the kitchen, so if they're doing any hot food, we can just bring it right out. A bathroom inside of the cafeteria, so that way when instruction is going on in these classrooms, when other kiddos at lunch, they're not going back in and out here to use the restroom. The green signs represent exits that are only fire exits, and if kiddos try to leave during the day, it will make a noise. So the only actual entry in and out is the front entryway, and the black ones, the 3 black here, represent the stairs that are up and down in the building. The second floor, it's an exact copy of the first floor. Obviously, this top right would be taken up by the gym because it would be a 2-story situation. Library above the cafeteria. For special ed classes in a Title I school, and in most schools, you're going to have a good number of students that have IEPs. So I had the 9 and 10 STEM courses downstairs, and the 9 and 10 humanities upstairs. And so those kiddos, those 9th graders, would be moving back and forth, hopefully to alleviate some of the stigma associated with reporting to the special education classrooms. A self-contained room, a maker space. This one would be for the 10th grade, along with the 10th grade courses, 10th grade counselor. 10th grade elective aligned with that CTE focus would be entrepreneurship for a semester and engineering for a semester. And then in 11th and 12th grade, it's more of a shared space as students start to differentiate more into their CTE pathway. And so there's a digital media lab, several classrooms for CTE, whether that be digital marketing, whether it be electrical engineering, broadcasting, things like that. Lots of classrooms for that. College and career readiness, physics. Since IBEW and electricity and computer and engineering is part of the focus, kiddos would take an electricity course as an elective, and then a college and career readiness room near the counselor to focus on those pathways. So that was a lot. The thing that makes me excited about this potential school is that, again, it could be built up and that we are bringing opportunities to students that normally would have to go outside for. So this last picture is one of some of my students in the Bronx. And this is us at the Museum of Natural History. And we went to a maker space there where they were given these supplies and they had to solve a medical scenario. And it was really cool to see these 4 boys, young men, engaged in this project that they normally, would just learn about on paper. But they were all in, as you can see in this picture, and all 4 of them actually became first-generation college students because they saw that, going to college or going into a trade is actually doing something. It's not just doing a worksheet. So the goal would be for this school to be hands-on, minds-on. And thank you for listening to me awkwardly record on Zoom in my office.